Good evening, everyone. First, I want to thank Raz for Needle for getting this class in motion, for getting everyone. Thank you. It's not easy doing it for Pesach. Yeah, and you have to eat the macaroons. They're kosher for Pesach, but you know, if you want to finish them today, it's fine. We get past these handout. And tonight, I wanted to talk about Nishtana, but to use the Nishtana, the famous questions, as a sort of a gateway to the Seder and to the whole thing.
Same thing? Yes.
It's two sides. We're going to start on page 1, and the lines in Hebrew and English are parallel, so you could compare, the text in Hebrew and in English on page 1. So I'm looking here at the text, the original text of the Mishnah, that speaks about, as it is brought in the Talmud of Eretz Yisrael, that we should know one thing, that when we talk about the text of the Haggadah, it underwent many changes, because even when people had certain manuscripts or certain written documents, when someone changed it orally, and that's what they remember, the next generation, when they copied the manuscript, they looked at the text and they said, wait a second, that's not what we say. It's different. So they copied it differently. Until the printing press, people still changed manuscripts. It was a very common thing. So we're looking now at a text that's supposedly the most original text that we could get, that of the Talmud of Eretz Yisrael. The Talmud of Eretz Yisrael was so officially sealed at around the 4th century, and we read the following. Thing. It speaks about the Seder, of course. So line 1, it says, "Heviu lefanav yirakot v'hazeret." They set vegetables and hazeret before him. We'll talk later about what hazeret is. Note that it seems like there's one person who's at the head of the table and everybody else serves him. Already right from the first sentence, they serve him hazeret and vegetables. Metabel b'hazeret ad shu magia lefarperet apat. He dips the hazeret before he reaches the course accompanying the bread. So, what is it? Salad or whatever it is. It's something that goes with the bread. In this case, of course, the bread is matzah. But he's yeah. But
why bread?
No, they say pat, parperet apat, because this is sort of like appetizer, so it always goes with bread. So for them, bread, it's just pat is a general name for everything you say hamotzi for. And then, and then in line 3, we read, Heviu lefanav matzah v'hazeret v'haroset. They bring matzah, hazeret, haroset, and some versions read shnei tavshilim, and 2 dishes. Af alpi she'en haroset mitzvah. Although the haroset is not compulsory, it's not mandatory. It's we read this and we say, what do you mean it's not mandatory? Haroset is for some people, the most important thing at the Seder table is the haroset, and where you have to exchange recipes, or the opposite. You don't exchange recipes. You have a secret recipe that nobody knows, right? Nobody knows about, or you give the whole thing except for the secret ingredient. But there is an opinion here. The main opinion is that haroset is not a mitzvah. So we have to figure out what is this haroset. Rabbi Azar be Rabbi Tzadok Omer mitzvah. This, by the way, this tells us the way the name is spelled. Azar, no aleph. That it comes from Eretz Yisrael because they were under the influence of the Greek language, and the aleph in many words just fell because they under the influence of the Greek they couldn't say El Azar. They would say El Azar. It's the opposite of what happens in the Spanish, where something like, for example, Sprite becomes Esprite. So this is the opposite, right? The word like Estela became Stella, and from this Talit. So, and many words like that. Estomach became stomach, and we use it in Hebrew. So the same thing, El Azar became Lazar, just like in Yiddish, laser. So Rabbi Laser, okay. So Rabbi Lazar be Rabbi Tzadok Omer mitzvah. He says no, haroset is a mitzvah. ובמקדש מביאים לפניו גופו של פסח. So they bring the matzah, the hazeret, haroset, the food. What's missing? Okay, let's start again. Okay, you don't know the Mishnah before that. The Mishnah before that says that you sit down and you drink the first cup of wine, and then you're being brought vegetable, hazeret, haroset, matzah, 2 dishes, the Pesach. What is missing of what we do today after we do the Kiddush? What do we do?
Sweet thing.
We eat and then what?
Tomorrow.
You all do Kiddush and right away you go eating?
We tell the story.
We tell the story, right? It's a whole protracted night of stories and divrei Torah and ideas, and we don't get to the food so fast. This is like the abridged version of the Seder. What is happening, right? So turn the page, and here we read the following. Mazgu lo kos sheni v'chana ben shoel. They pour a second cup of wine for him. Again, he's being served. And here the son asks, and if the son v'im en da'at v'ben lish'ol aviv melamdo, and if the son has insufficient understanding to question, his father teaches him, which is a key element that we come back to later in Jewish tradition. If we want to ask what is special about the Seder night and what have we gained from it, this is exactly the point, the focal point. Im en da'at baben lish'ol aviv melamdo. If the son does not, or the child does not have the interest or the curiosity to ask, either because he's not of the right age, or what we're doing now doesn't interest him, he doesn't care about your meal, he wants to go and play with the iPhone or something like that, right? You have to engage him, you have to bring him in. And you cannot engage the children if you yourself you're not engaged. So it's a process that feeds itself, because we have to get the kids excited, and it's mandatory, and we have to tell them the story, and we have to get them excited and involved. We must get excited about it, because we can't prompt the kids, ask question, ask whatever you want. Then when they ask us, I don't really know, let's just eat, okay? Don't bother me, right? So we are part of the commandment. We must teach, and we must teach ourselves. But okay, so the father doesn't teach the child the answer. He teaches him to ask questions. Okay, look around. What's different? Is it something that we do right? So now the child asks the following question. Ma nishtana halayla ze mikol halelot. Beautiful. We were waiting for that. That is the first question. Ma nishtana. How or why is this night different of all other nights? And here are the questions. Shebechol halelot anu metablin pa'am achat v'halayla hazeh shetei pa'amim. This is line 4. On all other nights we eat. Oh, sorry, this is my, right. It's line 5, parallel to line 5. On all other nights we dip only once, but on this night we dip twice. Then the second question is, all other nights we eat both hametz and matzah, but tonight only matzah. All other nights we eat the meat, roasted, stewed, or boiled, but on this night we only eat roasted meat. Anyone ever heard this question? No, except for in classes like esoteric classes that teach the history of it. Not in our Haggadah. Who speak about roast? And
roast.
Right? Some people don't even eat roast on the Seder night. And how many questions? 3. And we know that we have 4. So either one question went missing, or because it's the original text, there were originally 3 questions, and 1 was added later. Also, if you recall, in most of the Haggadot, the question about dipping is the last question. And here, it appears as the first question. Okay. Fine, let's continue, and then we'll try to unwrap all this. And the father teaches the son according to his level of understanding. Another educational gem. Don't try to force feed. Don't try to give a child or anyone more than they can digest. Lead them to conclusion. Lead them to see the problems, and try to engage them in finding the answers, but don't force it on them, and make it appropriate to their level. Lefi da'ato shel ben aviv melamdo. Yeah, so sometimes sometimes it means that when children ask, we don't say the whole truth. Maybe, right? We don't lie, but right, you can't do that. But we do it all the time. Adults, we distort the truth all the time for children, and we think we protect them. So is it good or not good? Yeah,
Why would we say we destroy?
No, we distort. We distort the truth a little bit. We twist it a little bit. It's a white lie, or whatever it is. Yeah, but even when kids ask, where is Grandpa, and we say he went on a long trip, right? Or they ask about other. So we don't always say the whole truth. We want them to learn it as they grow up. But by the same token, the rabbis say, Lefi da'ato shel ben aviv melamdo, you have to teach in an age appropriate manner. They also say you are not supposed to cover up everything. This is the next line. Mathil bignut umesayem b'sheva. You start in the translation. You start with shame and you conclude with glory. Meaning, we start with telling the shame of the Jewish people. We were slaves. The first lines of the Haggadah is, we say, we used to be slaves in Egypt. Now, we would have said, why should we even go there? Let's start from the Exodus. Hashem performed miracles, brought us to our Sinai, and gave us the Torah. Why do we have to go there? And I think the answer is, if we look at the context of education, that when the children learn of the difficulties that the parents went through, it makes them stronger. If they also learn how to deal with challenges, they might not have the same challenges, but it gives also the parents some kind of credibility when they come to talk to the children. That sometimes could be sort of a white lie that a parent might tell a child, to say, I had the same struggles that you are having now. Parents don't do that usually. We like to tell kids, I have more difficult life. My life. Oh, when I was a kid, there were no cars, there were no telephones. My kids asked me one time, when I was a kid, there were computers. I said no, but we had coconuts and we used to calculate. So that became the joke in my house. Whenever they ask, do you know this? No, we use coconuts for everything. That's what we use. So a colleague of mine once told me that his son had a problem when he was 6-7 years old of shoplifting. But he didn't understand the idea of possession, of ownership, of paying. And if he wanted something, he took it. And the father it was also a rabbi, tried to tell him that it's not right. And the kid wouldn't listen. This is the gem of a kid now, graduate college and everything. But what the father did, he was a brilliant educator, said, when I was a kid, I felt the same. I also wanted to get everything, and I didn't want to pay for it. And once the kid heard that, he understood that there are no, the barriers fell, and he said, okay, me and my dad, we're on the same level, and we can talk, even at that age. So I think those are the two parts of a educational concept that complement each other. On one hand, the Mishnah says, Lefi da'ato shel ben aviv melamdo. You have to approach the child in a way that the child understands, and not only whenever we're engaging in a conversation, communication, dialogue, we try to explain something, we have to step out of our shell and go to the other side and try to hear what they're saying, what they're thinking. But also, mathil bignutum sem b'sheva, that we tell our children our history, our difficulties, our faults, our flaws, that they know that we're not pretending to be perfect, and they also have a chance to overcome challenges and continue. And then we say, "V'doresh me'arami oved avi, ad shu gomer kol ha'parasha." He starts with the story of the wandering Aramean, who's my forefather. He finishes the whole parasha. It's a portion of the Torah that speaks about the history of Yetziat Mitzrayim. And then we conclude this Mishnah with this phrase. Rabban Gamliel haya omer. Rabban Gamliel used to say, Kol shelo amar shlosha dvarim elu b'Pesach, lo yatsa yedei chovato. If you didn't say those 3 words on Pesach, you did not fulfill your obligation. You have to say Pesach, Matzah, Umrorim. in today's Haggadot is the word is maror. And someone asked me once, what is the minimum that I have to do in order to accomplish the Haggadah? I said 3 words: Pesach, Matzah, Umaror, or Umrorim. And you point to them, right? And this is for in many families. And I know, for example, my grandfather used to. He would be very lenient when we talk during the Haggadah. We would get up, we walk, we come back. He didn't mind. He didn't force us to sit, sitz gleich, like sit still the whole time. But it would cause. Come now. Now we say this phrase together. Kol shalomar. Say it. Pesach, matzah, umaror. So we exclaim it, and we're. So this is the minimum that you have to say in the Haggadah. Those 3 words, right? By logic of exclusion, because if not. Let's say you have to say one more word. Let's say mustard, right? So you said Pesach Matzah Umaror. Oh, you're missing mustard. Rabban Gamliel should have said you have to say 4 words. No, he said 3 words. It's enough. So the core of the Pesach really is that Seder night is Pesach Matzah Umaror. 3 elements. We added a lot of other elements around. We kept embellishing and expanding to create some of it for curiosity, some of them because of different customs. But originally, and that will take us now back to the beginning, originally the core of the Haggadah was those 3 words. Pesach, Matzah, Umaror. Yes. Let's start.